Good morning, shalom, and welcome everyone to WOW equals Words of Wisdom number 5. Your attitude is showing. Uh, a long time ago, back in the 80s, when I was in college, I was taking a human relations class, and the book that they required us to read was called Your Attitude is Showing. And I'm quite sure, because this was a long time ago, that there have been many reprints of this particular book. But on the front cover of this book, there were little amoebas, little blob looking type pictures on the front, and each one had a facial expression. Some were happy, some were sad, and it was supposed to be um, indicative of the person's mood, or the mood of that particular amoeba. When I think back on that book, and I think about those little pictures that had the different facial expressions on them, it reminds me of them basically being the precursor to what we now know and use very often as the modern day emoji, that have all types of expressions and help us to communicate how we're feeling. And people really take those emojis to heart, and really look at them as people communicating their mood, how they feel, or their attitude. And so we always have to understand that our attitude is always showing. Our attitude is always on display, all the time, every day. And it shows, not only through what we actually say out of our mouths, but through our facial expressions, through our body language. And that's very, very important when we are thinking about communicating with others, dealing with other people, being around other people. And, back in the day, and maybe even some of us, now who are parents and things of that nature. But I know when I was growing up, if you rolled your eyes, okay, good morning, Sister Diamond. If you rolled your eyes at your mother or your father, at least I know my mother, you can roll your eyes if you wanted to. You rolled your eyes, or you sucked your teeth, you were picking yourself up off the floor. Okay? Because that was representative to parents back during that time, that you had what? A bad and disrespectful attitude. Okay? Those actions, the rolling of the eyes, the sucking of the teeth, and jerking your head. Oh, if you jerked your head, you you would get your head would get jerked in the opposite direction. Okay, because that, once again, that was looked at as having a disrespectful attitude. That was a disrespectful gesture that was made towards the parent or the elder. Okay, the attitude was showing. And so these things happen all too often now. I had students all the time that walked around, with this perpetual look on their face, like, mouth poked out all the time. This is how they looked all of the time. This was the perpetual attitude that they had all the time, and the level of disrespect and the attitude was, I don't have to change. Their whole attitude was like, I don't have to change. I don't have to be respectful towards you. If you said something to them, you got this. They wouldn't even look at you. So the attitude of disrespect and being mean and not having any type of manners. All of these different things are disrespectful attitudes that are coming out each and every day in people. And I'm in this particular case, I'm talking about children or maybe teenagers or things of that nature, but it happens with adults too. I who hasn't dealt with a person or a group of people that constantly walk around with a bad attitude? And your attitude, determines your altitude. It determines how high you're going to go in life, how far you're going to go in life. It's going to determine how you interact with other people, how you see things, your perspective in life. So if you have a bad attitude, you're going to see everything from a bad perspective, from a negative perspective. But if you have a good attitude, okay, you're going to see things differently. Okay, even if the situation is challenging, if you have a good attitude, you're going to say, well, you know what? It didn't work out this time, but we're going to find a solution, and we're going to see, maybe what went wrong this time. We're going to go back. We're going to, get some things together, and we're going to keep on moving forward. Those type of people. And I've seen other people who are like, oh, they're so corny. They're just too positive. I'm tired of them. It's like, really? Really? We need more people, in our lives who have a positive attitude, who have a positive outlook on life, who have a smile on their face, who are not walking around looking like they've been sucking on lemons all the time. Okay? That's how some people look. That's how some people look in their facial expressions. Now, of course, there's some people that they just have, straight faces all the time. They have that poker face, and it may not necessarily be indicative of how they're actually feeling. That actually, does happen. That there's people that just have a straight face, and it's nothing really negative or wrong going on in their lives. I'm not talking about those people. Some people, that's just the way they look. But I know my students used to be able to tell on my face, how I was feeling by my facial expression. I am not very good at hiding how I actually feel, or what my mood is or what my attitude is. It really showed on my face. So if somebody came in and, was talking crazy, or, was doing something that was wrong, or entered into my classroom in a way that was not appropriate, literally my whole entire class would turn around and look to see my facial expression, to see, what was going to take place next in the classroom based on my facial expression. And so I had to learn to be very cognizant of my facial expressions, because my students was reading my attitude. They were reading my mood based on my facial expressions. And so we do that. I mean, I've tried to even communicate with students in the past. I've had to try to contact them for paperwork and for documents and things of that nature. And, if I texted them, I couldn't get an answer or what have you. And then I would text them an emoji where I would, it would look like I would, angry emoji or what have you. And then they would text right back and say, what's wrong? Now I could have just texted them, good morning. I could have just texted them, in words, how, what I wanted, what I needed. And they didn't pay any attention to that. But then when I just texted an emoji, where it looks like I was upset or I was angry, I would get back, what's wrong? And I always thought that was amazing with, teenagers, that they really, understood those emojis better than they understood the words. Yes, Sister Diamond. They did. They understood those emojis a lot better. And so our attitude is always showing. It's showing when we're looking at people face to face, when we're dealing with them. It's always showing. We're walking around like this. Now this can mean two things. It can mean that you're cold, or it could mean that I don't want to hear what you have to say. In body language, when you cross your arms and you cross your your legs and all of that, it means that you have a closed off body language and you're not receptive to what someone is trying to communicate with you. You don't want to hear it. If you look the other way, you know, that means that you're not trying to hear what somebody's saying. Um, if you look to the left, because the left is the creative side of your brain. When I used to ask my students a question, um, you know, and I told them, and then the first thing they would do would look to the left. I said, why are you getting ready to lie to me? They said, what? Why do you think I'm going to lie to you? I said, because you look to the left. I said, you look to the left. I said, in order to lie, you have to make up a story. And when you make up a story, that means you're getting ready to create what you're getting ready to tell me. So you're about to lie to me. I said, don't lie to me. So I was able to really read their attitude. I was really able to read what they were getting ready to do, how they were getting ready to respond, how they were getting ready to interact with me, what their whole mindset was. And so, then it got to the point where they were trying not to look to the left. They were trying not to let me see that attitude of lying, that mindset of lying that they were getting ready to do. And they did. They looked to the left. And they said, wow, I never realized that I did that. And so I really, really started, looking at people straight on in their face. And like they said, leaning in. Leaning in means that you have that attitude that I'm engaged and that I am interested and in tune to what you are about to say to me. So if I really lean into somebody when they're talking to me and I look them in the eye, okay, I'm showing an attitude of engagement and that I'm interested in what that person or those people have to say. Okay. And so all of these things are different attitudes, different moods, different interactions. And we have to be cognizant that our attitude is showing. Now, sometimes if we're just, it's showing through what we're saying out of our mouths, what we're doing. If you slam a door, it's showing that you have an angry attitude. You have an angry disposition. You slam a door. Okay, especially if it's after words that have been said, okay, that is in a particular way, that comes off in a particular way, screaming, hollering, a heated disagreement or argument or a fight, and then you slam a door. Okay, so we've got to remember as we go throughout our day to day that our attitude is always showing. It's always showing. What's going on with us is always showing. Now, it may not mean that you are projecting all of the problems that you have, but sometimes it can, because some people, they've been suppressing, all of the problems and the situations and the tests and the trials that they have for so long that they build up and then they can't take it anymore. And the attitude that comes out is one of frustration because of what they're dealing with. So that frustrated attitude may come out in in an outburst or a blow up that they have. And it may not have anything to do with you per se, but it may have everything to do with what they're dealing with in their life that has piled up. So now they're just walking around frustrated with a frustrated attitude, stressed out, worried, ready to pull their hair out. And so we've got to be very cognizant of that our attitude is showing. And if you're in a situation where your attitude is stressful, full of anxiety, you're worried, or you may be depressed, or you may be sad, or you're feeling down, or whatever the situation may be that is not, a positive, or, in a situation where you're moving forward in a positive direction in your life, then You may have to go before the Most High Yah in prayer, which we should be doing that on a daily basis anyway, to really allow Him to work on you, in areas of your life that, need, where you need help, where you need deliverance, where you need an attitude adjustment. Okay. You know, um, I know that when I used to get disciplined, you know, when I was growing up, there was definitely an attitude adjustment that happened because of the fact that, if you rolled your eyes and you sucked your teeth and you got popped, your attitude was, you were expected to come back with a different attitude and a different demeanor. Okay? You better come back with a smile on your face. Okay? Or you're going to be popped again. So, you know, when you go before the Most High Yah in prayer, you know, get that attitude adjustment, from Him. And He will show you what you need to do. If you have a bad attitude, if you have a negative attitude, if you're always angry, if you're always in distress, if people can't stand to be around you because your attitude is just, unbearable, that's a problem. Okay? That is a definite problem. Go to the Most High Yah in prayer. Ask Him to show you what is the root source of that bad attitude, that negative attitude, that angry attitude, that is affecting the people in your life, whether it's your family, your friends, your co-workers, your business associates, your neighbors. Pray and ask Him to reveal that to you, because you need to really understand the source of where that developed. Where did it first start? And how did you develop into having these types of attitudes and moods on a consistent basis that has become chronic? Okay? And then you may have to repent and ask Him to show you what you need to do to, get those type of attitudes and mindsets out of your life. And when you develop those type of attitudes and stuff like that, they're spirits. Okay? They're really spirits being manifested in your life. Okay, so you really need to find the root cause. How did they get in? What entryway, what doorway, what happened in your life that caused you to develop this type of attitude? Okay, so think about that as you go throughout the day. Remember, your attitude is showing. It's always showing. Good, bad, or indifferent, high, medium, or low. It is always, always showing. So I just want to thank you for joining me for WOW equals Words of Wisdom, number 5. And I want you to have a positive, powerful, and productive day. I'll see you next time.